JR Takes. As always, you got me and Ryan here. Ryan, it's good to be back this week.
Good to be back.
And yeah, we're just pretty much going to be going over a couple things. We got preseason game tomorrow against the Vikings. We got some battles going on at training camp throughout the week that we'll be talking about. And then, of course, the Mariners trying to win their 7th straight tonight. So a lot of exciting things going on. And we also are going to be sort of like last week, similar to the players watching throughout the preseason. We're going to be choosing 3 more this week, and we'll just kind of dive right into things. Ryan, you've been noticing a lot of stuff going on at camp, reading about some things. I've been hearing a lot of good stuff about Trey Brown.
Yeah, and it's pretty consistent with what I saw when I was there last weekend, because, I mean, honestly, he looked like the best corner on our team when I was at training camp, but I just thought, it's one practice. It's not that big of a deal, but, I mean, he looks motivated. I don't know what it says about, the state of our cornerback position, but I don't think it says anything bad that we have so many guys that are competing for playing time right now. We're basically looking at possibly moving Kobe Bryant to full-time safety because of it. Which I actually think, given his athletic profile, is probably a better fit for him anyways. The main highlight of Kobe's play last year was those forced fumbles he caused, but as a cover corner, it wasn't that great. So I like Kobe. I think he's a smart player, very physical, but I think, being a safety may bode for a better career for him.
Yeah, well, and going off of the other cornerbacks, I noticed Devin Witherspoon, he didn't practice yesterday, and we found out today it's because of a hamstring injury. A little bit of a bummer with that, because he was originally he was going to be one of my players to watch tomorrow, just because, I mean, he's our 5th overall pick.
Yeah.
But
I'm not, so, I mean, it's not ideal, obviously, but I do think they are being extra cautious with him, because
I would prefer him not to play than play.
Yeah, I really, for me, preseason is about, let's see how good starters can look on one drive, and then let's see what kind of depth we have and who's going to make the team, because it's just not worth. I always think about Tony Romo. 2016, your Dak starts, destroys his back in a meaningless preseason game getting tackled by Cliff Averill. That's the end of Tony Romo's career. It ended in a preseason game, basically. Not saying that's likely to happen, but it does happen every season. Someone gets hurt in the preseason, someone gets hurt in training camp. So I'm all for minimizing those injury opportunities, but it's all about striking a balance with getting the reps you need to get in playing shape and to be ready for the season and not risking too much of an injury. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the late round picks, the guys fighting for roster spots and spots on the depth chart. I think Devin will be ready for the regular season, and I think he's going to blow people away once he gets on there. Yeah,
I really agree, and we actually didn't really. I think this happened in between this episode and last, but Kenny McIntosh got a little nicked up in the mock game, I believe it was.
I think he sprained a knee, but it's not. Last I heard, it wasn't something that's going to keep him out significantly, but he's probably going to miss at least this game's week.
Yeah, well, and that was just another player when I was trying to go down the list of guys I was looking forward to seeing play. He was one of them, and but it happens, at least it's not season ending. We haven't had any of the, did you hear about Tim Patrick on the Broncos?
Oh, yeah. Man, you got to feel sorry for that guy. He had a season ending injury in training camp last year. Torn Achilles, I believe.
Yeah.
This year. That sucks. The guy's not very young either. I mean,
Reminds
that
me
might
of
be it.
A similar thing happened to Keenan Allen. Remember, he tore his ACL back-to-back years, but he was able to, find his groove back.
Yeah.
He's still effective, but...
Yeah, and he's a player who's never based their game on pure speed. So I feel like players like that can come back from injury a little easier. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. So as far as the preseason game, Ryan, predictions, who do you think is going to... Well, actually, I guess we'll get to that in a second. Top 3 players to watch. why don't you give me your first one, and then we'll kind of go back and forth and snake it.
My number one player to watch, because I think he's going to get a lot of playing time due to the guys ahead of him and just the fact that he was also a high pick but inexperienced, is Derek Hall. So I don't know if you remember this, but all the way back in 2015 when Frank Clark was our high second-round pick, he's a guy that we let play deep into the preseason games, and by like the third and fourth quarter, he was like bulldozing these offensive tackles that are going to be not in the league in a few weeks. So he was just destroying. And I think you could see a similar thing happen here with Derek Hall, where, we have Boye Mafe and Uchenna Nwosu and Darrell Taylor, who is out right now anyways, but that they don't need a ton of playing time compared to a fresh rookie. So I think he's going to get a ton of work late into games too. So he's my number one guy to watch. I am going to make a prediction that he gets 2 sacks this preseason.
Nice. Yeah, Derek Hall, I didn't have him on my list, but he's certainly a guy to watch. I also, honorable mention, spoiler alert, did not have Boye Mafe on there, but I'm actually looking forward to seeing what he can do, because I feel like he didn't really play a lot, and I've been hearing that he's like a developing piece.
Yeah.
He's like a developing talent.
Pete Carroll singled him out as the most improved player from this year to last.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see that, because we really didn't see much of him at all last year. So, of course, Boye, honorable mention for me. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think he's someone that could really help out with our run defense woes, too, because he was already better at that than Darrell Taylor as a rookie last year, and I think he's only going to get better.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. But I have pretty obvious player, Drew Lock. Wanted to see, because I don't foresee Geno really playing too many snaps with the offense throughout these 3 preseason games, and I think the lack of Drew Lock last year with the COVID. I'm just excited to see what he can do, especially with our receivers.
Yeah, we barely got to see Drew Lock even in preseason. We didn't see him in the regular season at all.
I think that's ultimately why I put him there, is because, like, even though I don't expect him to really play, I would hope we don't see him much in the regular season, because that is a sign that good things are happening. But Drew Lock, yeah, he's my guy, because like I said, we really didn't get much of him at all last year, besides the Cowboy game where he had a couple picks.
It's like 2 or 3. It was ugly.
Yeah. So, and I've been hearing good things about Drew as well. So I'm excited to see what he can do.
Yeah. So on sort of a similar note, another guy for me to watch in the preseason is someone who I keep hearing things about in training camp and has actually been on our team for a number of years now, but I don't know how often he's been on the active roster, and that's Cody Thompson. So he's a reserve special team wide receiver, or at least he has been the last few seasons, but I just saw a highlight of him catching like a 50-yard bomb from Drew Lock for a touchdown. I forget who was over, but anyways, that was the other day, and that was pretty exciting. But with the injuries to Derek Young and the D-Eskridge situation, he has a pretty good chance of making the team, at least for the first 6 weeks of the season. Number one, due to those situations, but the fact that he has experience with our team over those undrafted rookie guys who, while they may flash, they don't have the knowledge base of our offense that he does, probably. So he's my guy to watch. I think he's someone that could maybe go off this preseason.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up Cody Thompson, because he's kind of that same argument why I chose Jake Bobo.
Yeah.
And that's because, and Colby.
Yeah. We're going to have to get you a Bobo jersey.
We're going to have to get Colby a Bobo jersey.
Actually, I'm kind of unfamiliar with Bobo. What's going on?
He's just a receiver on the Seahawks with the name Bobo. But
he's tall and white and played for, I believe, UCLA, I want to say.
He's a rookie.
Yeah.
Coming in.
But he ran a really slow 40 time, but he runs good routes and is big and, feisty, so he gets open in his own way, but he didn't get drafted because he's slow as shit, basically.
So how do you think they're going to use him? Like, they're going to implement him?
Well, he's another receiver, and because Dwayne D-Eskridge, he just got in trouble for a domestic violence case.
Yeah. And we just brought up D. Eskridge as someone
who has a lot to prove.
Yeah, he
and
was,
it's
I think, our number one player with the
He has
most to
done
prove.
nothing.
Well, and especially, when you have done nothing and now you slap a 6-game domestic violence suspension
Yeah.
on you, it's like you're not going to make the
It's
team.
one thing to get suspended for PEDs, too, but getting suspended for... I mean, look, we don't have the details, but a domestic violence incident involving the mother of your child, that just does not look good. There's no universe where that looks good.
No.
Domestic,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I chose Jake Bobo for those same reasons. Receiver rooms just kind of dwindling due to injury and due to suspensions. So, windows of opportunity are opening, and I think Bobo will be the guy.
I think him, Cody Thompson, and Matt Landers are all three of them maybe fighting for one spot, but it might be two because of the Eskridge situation. We'll see.
Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe we will hold on to Eskridge, but I just would be surprised, especially given the situation, the context of the situation. It doesn't really seem like we give too many chances to people that...
No, I do think he'll not be cut during the preseason, though, because since he's suspended, he's not going to count against the roster until he gets back.
Gotcha.
So I think basically, he's got those 6 weeks to, like, prove that he still has a place on this team, and because then after that point, like, he could get cut at any time, I'm pretty sure. But we'll see. I think he gets one more season with us is my prediction, but he's going into a contract year next year, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean,
which is crazy because it feels like he's played 4 games.
Yeah, I don't foresee anyone signing him based on what he's shown on the field,
including us.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't re-sign him. I mean, remember, Ryan traded D. Eskridge to me in fantasy, 2 years ago or last year?
And I think it was for like
a 4th round pick, and I cut him like the week after. So
yeah, he's. I don't even want to spend any more time talking about him.
Yeah. We'll move on from him, and I'm wondering if you have this guy on your player to watch list, but third for me was Trey Brown for reasons mentioned earlier in the episode. I've just been seeing a lot of videos on the internet of him and DK going at it, and you mentioning, and along with ESPN Radio is mentioning that he's just been standing out a lot at training camp, and I'm just really excited because I really haven't seen much of him either due to injury. And
yeah, I mean, he had a really promising start to his rookie season when Russ was hurt. Mm-hmm. Came into that Steelers game, looked awesome. I don't know if you remember, he made that tackle on the side. I think it was what's that annoying guy, Claypool? I'm pretty sure he stood him up like for a 3rd down stop or something like that. Mm-hmm. Anywho, tears his patella right after that, like a game or 2 later. And
God, why do all of our guys tear their patella tendon?
I know that's
so
that's
common.
one of the most devastating injuries you can get in sports too. But anywho, he's really bounced back from that. It does take more than a year to fully recover from that oftentimes. So yeah, I don't know if he has a place on our starting lineup, but either way, it's always good to have as many plus corners on your team as possible. So I'm excited for that too. And sticking with the defense, my final guy of my trio to watch is Mike Morris, a rookie 3-4 defensive end / defensive tackle, depending on the formation. He's the 6'6". I think he's getting close to 300 pounds, but I think at the combine he was like 270. He's already up to like 295 or something, Pete Carroll said. Anywho, they told him to bulk up. He's huge. He's a monster. He was someone that had potential 1st-round hype like a couple of years ago, and then for whatever reason with Michigan just kind of fell off in the last year or so, but it wasn't because of his talent. So I think he is a potential sleeper for pick of the 2023 draft class, if he lives up to that potential he had. But
remind me of the position Mike Morris plays.
So in our new alignment, you have nose tackle over the center, then 2 defensive ends that are really built more like defensive tackles, and then the 2 outside linebackers and a base 3-4. So he'd be 3-4 defensive end. So essentially the same position that Shelby Harris played last year, and that Draymond Jones is going to be playing for us this year. But he's well behind the depth chart behind Draymond and the guy we got from the Titans. I can't remember. I think it's Mario Williams, I want to say. And I forget who the other starter is. I'm blanking. But anywho, I don't think Mike Morris is going to be a starter for us this year, but he'll get some time on that D-line rotation. So he's just, to me, an intriguing player. So I want to see what he does against some lesser competition.
Yeah, well, moving on to like the score of the game, I know it's not very important because you look at games in the past, like the Bears game last year where we got blown out at home and it ended up not mattering because they were like the worst team in the league.
Yeah,
but
we made the playoffs.
as far as scoring tomorrow, do you think what do you got for us as far as Vikings Seahawks goes?
I don't know. It's really hard to predict because
is it home? It's a home game.
I
yeah?
think it is home. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna say the score ends up being 20-17, and we win. Is my prediction.
Did the Vikings draft a quarterback or something? Did they draft Hendon Hooker?
No, the Lions did.
Oh, that's right.
The Vikings, they drafted Jordan Addison with their first round pick. I
Is
believe.
he in trouble or something? Didn't he get busted for driving?
Oh, so he got pulled over for speeding, like exhibition of speeding, like above like 20 miles over or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a lot more than
He's
20,
not suspended though, is he?
No, he said he was like taking his dog to the hospital or something, which I don't know how true that is, but it's
same thing as dog ate your homework. Just
Yeah.
bring in the dog. You're involving the dog, and it's just like you're putting all blame on the dog. Come on.
Yeah.
I was just thinking having like if I had like a soundboard of like sound effects like dun dun dun, like that would be.
Yeah, we'll have to implement that in one of the future episodes.
We're always getting something new.
Yeah.
We're
adapting.
We got our logo behind us.
Oh, yeah.
You know, constantly working on the studio.
I didn't think I thought I would just let them be surprised by it. I didn't think I'd comment on it, but I'm glad we are.
I think it's
it
worth
now.
addressing. Yeah.
Yes,
It's a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've come a long way from.
So what do you guys think?
We won't know. Anywho, yeah. Well, what are you thinking for the game?
I think it's going to be kind of similar in that range, like 20-17, 23-17. I think we'll win just because it's the first game and it's at home. Mm-hmm. I hope it's at home. I'm going to be like, oh, I'm an idiot if it's not. But it's at 7. So,
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's at home.
Yeah. I think it'll be a first. I think it'll be a win at our first game of the year at Lumen.
Do you think we're gonna see much Geno in the starters, or?
I'm thinking maybe.
Yeah, it's at home.
Okay, cool. I'm thinking. Thank you, Colby. I forgot to even ask you. I was like, I guess we'll never know. Yeah, but
it's a secret until the game starts.
I could see us throwing out Geno in the first team offense for a series or two, and then
that's kind of my
off the
guess.
Field. Maybe even a full drive. Who knows? But I don't know. It's tough to say. I'm hoping I'm not bored by midway through the second quarter like I usually am. But I don't know. I even had fun watching the Bears preseason game last year. But I remember being like, this is boring.
That was a uniquely terrible preseason game.
Yeah.
Because the entire hype build up to that game was. This is like the, not yet the conclusion, but a huge piece of the Drew Lock Geno competition. And then
that the COVID game?
Yeah, so Drew Lock gets COVID. Geno goes in and plays well, but I don't know if you remember this, the receivers dropped like every fucking pass.
I do remember
and all of them got cut. So we were like, what do we even get out of this game? Like, we learned nothing.
Yeah, I learned that game that, was it Bo Melton? I drafted him in fantasy because he was a late round pick, and I was like, oh, this guy might make it. And I remembered he specifically dropped a touchdown pass, I believe it was, and I don't think was on the roster.
Who was our third string quarterback for a minute last year?
Jacob Eason.
Jacob Eason, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember just thinking, wow, this guy's arm is fucked up, but it has no scope.
Yeah, I do remember him throwing cannons over the middle, and it was just like sailing over everyone's head.
Yeah, like I remember he was trying to throw just a deep route, and it missed so bad. The receiver was about at the numbers, and it was like 10 yards out of bounds. Like I was like, oh my god, like that had to be a miscommunication or something. But anyway. I don't think it's going to be that bad this year. I think our depth is a lot better this season.
Do we have a third-string quarterback on the roster right now?
Ayers.
Huh.
He's a UDFA guy. Yeah, I saw him a little bit in training camp. If anything, he's going to be on the practice squad.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah, I guess so, yeah. I think we're going to win 23-17. That's my final conclusion.
all right. Well, yeah, exciting time for the Seahawks. It feels like this offseason has lasted forever and also gone by really quick at the same time.
Yeah.
But, were you going to say something?
I was just going to say, moving on to the Mariners real quick, to be sort of brief, not a whole lot to talk about them, except in recent news. They've been winners of 6 in a row and looking to get number 7 tonight against San Diego. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from them so far. A lot of changes to the lineup in recent with the trading of Paul Sewald, but yeah, 7 in a row, and you got Julio making a pretty awesome catch last night. Colby, I don't know if you want to pull that guy up, but little trickery from Julio as he trolled the entire stadium last night against Fernando Tatis.
Okay, so yeah, this is Julio Rodriguez.
Games hitting a $119. Straight away center. Julio gauging, looking, jumping, and he did not get it.
I didn't hear what the audio really is, so this is kind of cool.
Oh, he did. Yeah,
He did get it. Oh man, you want to talk about psych? Tatis went into his home run trot routine.
Yeah.
Oh, brother.
And now he has one of the slowest walks back to the dugout.
Thank you. He went into his whole 2-3 step, no-fly zone indeed.
And that's it,
Yeah, so that was pretty awesome, and I'm really just stoked to see the team finally piecing wins together at the right time because...
Oh, no.
It just did a little automatic...
did the auto video play next?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure everyone is familiar with that bullshit because it's happened to all of us.
It's got to happen at least once, I'm still learning.
Yeah. But yeah, they're 2 back from the wild card currently behind the Toronto Blue Jays.
Well, if we know anything about the Blue Jays, they like blowing it.
Yeah,
they will. Last second.
I have faith that they will choke, and then we are 3.5 behind the Houston Astros for the division, and 6 behind Texas. So
which isn't insurmountable.
I'm telling you, there's a chance. I really am. A lot of, like I said, everyone's getting hot at the right time, and who knows? A month from now, we could be in the thick of it, and we might even be leading the division. So
yeah, it's kind of funny how I feel like the vibes have just been such shit around the Mariners this season, but you look at it objectively, and weren't they doing worse this time last year, record-wise?
Maybe I don't know if they might have been 12 over 500. They might have been 9 because we're currently 9 over 500. But I remember they didn't really hit that stride of the 14-game win streak until I believe it was right before the All-Star game when that happened. Mm-hmm. And so I mean they got hot earlier, but I would honestly take getting hot in August over getting hot in July because closer to the playoffs.
Are we at a 6-game win streak right now?
Yes, 6 games. So if we win tonight, we'll be the halfway marker of 14, which is the record for the franchise.
Point, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always good just to see them doing well and not living in mediocrity purgatory. That's the worst place to be. So.
Yeah, but maybe next week we'll be talking about them being on a 14-game win streak.
That'd be awesome.
I'll
Fingers
take it.
crossed.
I still need to go to a game this year. I haven't been to one.
I've only been to one game, and it was an away game. and we
That
lost
is
10-0.
so weird. We need to support the troops.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think Chris has a couple tickets for us.
Oh yeah, he does.
Going to the game, maybe soon. And if it's any game, we should like wait and go to a game that might matter, like as far as playoff
Like
playoff
early
contentions
September.
are concerned. Yeah, but that's pretty much all I had for today's episode. Excited to get going with the football season tomorrow officially with the first preseason game.
Yeah, the long night is finally over as far as sports news goes for the most part.
Yeah.
Finally, we'll have some real shit to talk about.
And that's what's also kind of cool about the Mariners finally waking up and being good is like now that they're playing well, we have, Seahawks football starting up, playoff baseball just around the corner. So it's a lot on the horizon. And then you have the Kraken starting later that month.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I think the end of October.
they
Yeah.
start right around basketball
Yeah.
season, don't they?
Just stopped watching them for some
I know.
reason. I don't know why.
Well, you got to think it's the summer and then back to it pretty much for them.
But yeah, I know we said this last year on the podcast, but it's getting into my favorite time of the year in general, and especially for sports.
I would have to agree with you.
End of summer,
August
weather's still decent.
Yeah, August is my favorite sports month, I think, because football starting, baseball kind of starting off that race to the finish.
And baseball starts getting interesting.
Yeah.
As for the layman, I guess.
No, you're totally right. I don't think I've watched a single Mariners game on TV from start to finish this whole season. I've watched some.
I just
games,
can't do
but
it.
It attributes that we do not have cable.
Yeah, that is
So you kinda
also
watch
fair.
highlights.
We watched a lot of games last year, but it was because we had cable.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had it for years.
Maybe they'll do a new deal with sports soon with television, and they'll just take it all to streaming.
Just wait till streaming. Yeah,
I'm sure
it's gonna
Disney somehow is going to profit off
Disney
all
is
of
gonna
it.
stick
be,
their.
not to totally it's about this, but with college football and streaming, that's gonna be a big thing. Apple is they're
Yeah,
already making deals.
I think with the West Coast and whatnot.
Yeah. Apple TV is gonna be a big one.
Yeah, and we didn't even talk about how the Huskies in Oregon left the Pac-12.
That's something I can.
I don't really have too much to say about it.
I don't have much to say other than it's disappointing.
It's dude, yeah, I got a lot to say. My dad has a lot to say.
Oh yeah, Colby's a passionate Coug fan, so he's probably not very happy about the move.
The Pac-12 is I think down to the Pac-4 right
Yeah.
now, and it's not looking. We have to
It'd be kind of cool if they went to the Mountain West though and
That's-
just dominated.
That's what my
That
brother
would be kind of
Chris
cool, I
was
think.
saying. Yeah, we'd be playing it's a lot of things.
Yeah, I feel like that whole conversation is a can of worms that, frankly, I don't pay enough attention to have much of a say on.
I just don't get Saturdays off enough to know enough about college
I
football.
watch every Cougar football game. I watch every Cougar football game, and it's college football is going to be starting up here, and
Yeah, they're
there's
starting
no
really
schedule, there's
soon.
nothing.
Yeah.
It's messed up.
Well, I thought that the Pac-12 was staying together this
Wait, is it
season.
starting this year?
I thought it
Like-
was for 2025 or 2024. It's not starting this season.
Yeah, because I guess if that.
Yeah, that would be
then
fucked
they would,
up,
be so messed up.
the logistic. Yeah,
So
there's
we'll have
no way.
another Apple Cup, but
Yeah.
gosh darn it, we're not.
Well,
that's
I
gonna
don't-
be the last one.
Well, I heard they're trying to keep the Apple Cup a thing, but I've also heard that some people in Cougar Nation are
it's all
fuck you,
about
UW.
money.
Yeah.
They're not gonna do the Apple Cup just because oh yeah, we can do this. No.
Yeah, but I mean, I think what it comes down to is college football has always sort of had the old school mentality around it where it's different from the NFL. It's not for money. It's basically turned into a pipeline for the NFL these days. That's just kind of what it is now. And you got players that are getting paid endorsement money, and a lot of them are already millionaires before they even get to the NFL now. Like, for example, Bryce Young. He's kind of like the...
He's the first
The
one.
flagship,
Yeah.
testing this out.
But I also think, Bryce Young was really fucking good. And I'm not saying that there's a, need for guys to be making a ton of money to, be performing exceptionally well. But it's not going away is the bottom line. And it sucks, but it's the world we live in.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have much more to add on the college football scene because, like I said, I mean, disappointing, but I mean, yeah.
It's gonna
It is.
I'll be hopeful about it. It's just we'll see where we land.
Yeah.
I think it would be really interesting if the Cougs went to the Mountain West and just kicked everyone's ass. I think that would be kind of sweet.
Because any college football team can ascend the ranks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it just depends where I don't know what the championship is or whatever.
Yeah, and honestly, the Big 10 or what is it? The Big 18 now.
It's the Big 18 now, yeah.
Yeah, because that's just like coast to coast teams. Or wait, is that mostly like a Wisconsin?
Midwest, a lot of Midwest teams.
Yeah.
Now you have Oregon, UW, and was it USC?
USC and UCLA. So the four of them are going
Wow.
there.
Dude, that's so much like West Coast to and I think there's some East Coast teams as well. Because there's Michigan.
There's Michigan, Wisconsin,
we just
Illinois.
rode to Michigan,
Yeah.
so we know how far
That's
away
fucking
Michigan
far.
is.
Yeah, I feel like it gets lost in the shuffle oftentimes just geographically how far away
Should conferences be
we are from.
geographical? That's what
They
it's
really
about
aren't,
money and
though.
TV deals.
For a long
That has
time.
been, but,
Well, even like back in the old NFC West days when the St. Louis Rams were a thing, they're further east than the Cowboys, who are in the NFC East. Mm-hmm. And then you have in the AFC South, you have the Colts. They're further north than Cleveland, which is in the AFC North. So it doesn't make any fucking sense, honestly. But
At the end of the day, it has to just come down to the 4 best representatives on the West Coast being brought over to the Midwest.
yeah. And I mean the 4 biggest markets too.
That's what I meant to say. The 4 biggest markets. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean USC, UCLA, and I feel like it's
Oregon,
the fact that Oregon State and Wazoo are getting left out. They're getting shafted the most in this deal.
Look what happened last season. We for the first time just blew UW out of the water in the Apple Cup, and they it's like what's talent? Talent has nothing to do. It's about fundraising and how big are your pockets?
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of always how it's been for WSU compared to UW, and same with Oregon State.
Yeah.
But anywho, I'm going to try to watch more college football this year because I feel like when we get into draft season, it'll make it a lot more fun if I, didn't just watch other people's opinions on it for an hour and actually watch them during the season. But I say that, and there's so many games, and I don't have cable. It's kind of hard, but we'll do what we can.
Yeah, we certainly will. But that's pretty much all I had on this one. We'll see you guys next week, and hopefully we'll be talking about Mariners winning streak and a Seahawks dub.
And no injuries.
Yes, none of that. Let's do this.
All right. See you guys on the next one.
Yep.